Happy Saturday and good morning, and welcome back to Supernaturalist, where we don't just recap the hunt, we dig into the monsters, the myths, the darkness, and the creepy things crawling out of hell. Today, we're opening the gates to season 3 of Supernatural with episode 1, The Magnificent Seven. And this episode doesn't ease us back in. It kicks the door wide open, fills the sky with black demonic smoke, and reminds us that when the Devil's Gate opens, what comes out isn't just one demon. It's an army of demons. And some of them are very. Season 3 begins in Oak Park, Illinois. It's a quiet residential neighborhood just outside of Chicago. And it's the kind of place where nothing should happen except porch lights flickering, trash cans rolling to the curb, and maybe a neighbor walking their dog a little too late at night. But this is supernatural. A man is taking out his trash. He hears something in the dark, and then the world around him starts to change. The trash cans rattle, the street lights flicker quickly, erratically. The sky above him blackens, and the cloud of demonic smoke rolls across the moonlight. Then the smoke separates. Not one demon, not two. Hundreds of strands of black smoke tear away and shoot toward him. One hits him. It forces its way into his mouth. His body jerks. His eyes turn black. And just like that, hell has a foothold in the suburbs. Now, this opening is such a strong reminder of what demons are in Supernatural. They're not always horned monsters with claws and tails. They're invaders. They slip into human bodies without permission because they don't need it. They wear human faces and they move through the world pretending to be ordinary people, but they're just not quite right. And that's what makes them so unsettling. You don't know who's possessed until the damage is already done. And we find this out all throughout 15 seasons of Supernatural. And after the Devil's Gate opened at the end of season 2, the rules have kind of changed. Demons aren't rare now. They aren't isolated threats anymore. They're spreading across the country, probably across the world. So now 1 week later, Sam has already buried in books. He's always buried in books. He's looking at the rituals, the lore, and a whole lot of demon research, and he's trying to find a way to save Dean from the deal he made at the crossroads. Meanwhile, Dean is acting like Dean. He's not reading ancient texts. He's not panicking. He's not talking about his feelings, but he never talks about his feelings. He's enjoying what little time he has left with women. He's enjoying the company of women. So very Dean. That contrast matters because this whole episode lives under the shadow of Dean's deal. He has 1 year before the hellhounds come for him, and Sam can't accept it. Dean says he's fine, Sam knows he isn't, and Bobby knows it too. Then Bobby calls with a lead. Bad crops failing. Cicadas. I personally love cicadas and the sound they make, but that's just me. And a possible demonic omen near Lincoln, Nebraska. It's not much, but after Gate to Hell's been opened, even a whisper of demonic activity is worth chasing. So when Sam, Dean, and Bobby reach the victim's house, they find something very, very disturbing. 3 bodies on a couch. They're rotting. They're dead in their living room, but there's no sulfur. There's no obvious demonic signature. It's very strange. And the cause of death makes no sense either. Dehydration and starvation? The kitchen was fully stocked. That's where this episode starts shifting from a regular demon case into something much, much stranger. These victims didn't die because a demon snapped their neck or threw them across a room. They died because something got inside them, twisting their instincts and let them waste away while food and water sat only a few feet away. That's not random violence. That's punishment. It's symbolism. And that's our first clue that they're dealing with the demons connected to human weakness. Enter Isaac and Tamara. They are hunters with scars, deep, deep scars. We never truly find out what it is. And at the house, Sam, Dean, and Bobby run into them. Dean is kind of attacked by Isaac because he doesn't know who Dean is. But then Bobby shows up on the porch and they're just buddy-buddy. Now, Isaac and Tamara, they're experienced and they're tough and they're, quite frankly, angry. Isaac doesn't trust the Chesters. And honestly, from his point of view, it's easy to understand why. Sam and Dean were involved in the events that opened the Devil's Gate, and now hunters everywhere are cleaning up after the fallout. Still, people blame Sam for opening the gate. But again, it wasn't Sam. It was Jake. So this gives the episode a bigger feeling. It's not just Sam and Dean's problem anymore. The world has changed. Other hunters are out there. Other people are dying. And other families are getting pulled into this mess. And that tension matters because the creatures in the episode aren't just monsters anymore. They're consequences. Then we move to a department store. The possessed man from Oak Park, Walter Rosen, interesting, approaches a woman and casually points out another woman's shoes. That's all it takes. A simple sentence. Those are nice shoes. Suddenly, envy blooms into obsession. A woman who she was just shopping. She becomes consumed by wanting what somebody else has. She follows the other woman outside and demands the shoes. And when she refuses, the woman attacks with very brutal force, deadly force. This is where the Magnificent Seven gets clever with its creature work. The demons don't just possess people and cause chaos. They weaponize sin. They touch something already human, something small and ugly and ordinary, and then they amplify it until it becomes deadly. That's kind of terrifying because envy doesn't look supernatural at first. It looks like desire. It looks like jealousy. And it kind of looks like, why does she get that and I don't? That's typical human behavior. But then in this case, it turns to murder. And eventually, Bobby realizes what they're dealing with. These aren't ordinary demons. They're the seven deadly sins. And in the world of Supernatural, the seven deadly sins aren't just moral failings. They're actual demons, ancient entities tied to human corruption. The episode connects them to Peter Binsfield, a real, actual historical theologian who classified demons in 1589. And Supernatural uses that bit of demonology as part of its lore. They're always finding fantastic and amazing, real true lore for the show. I love that. So if you don't know, the seven deadly sins are pride. It's the hunger to be above everyone else. And there's greed. That's the need to take and take even when it destroys others. Next, we have lust. That's a desire twisted into manipulation. And envy. That's wanting what someone else has so badly you would hurt them for it. And we have gluttony. That's consumption without control. You just take and take and take and eat and eat and eat. It can be not just food. It can be anything. Next is wrath. That's rage turned loose. Anger. Constant anger. And lastly, we have sloth. It's spiritual rot and apathy and decay. And what's so effective about these creatures is that they don't feel random. Each demon reflects something people already carry. All of these things everyone has at one point or another. That's why they're dangerous. They don't need to create evil from nothing. They just need to find the crack and push it open. So the hunters track Walter Rosen to a local bar, but Isaac and Tamara move way too soon, and that mistakes cost them. And inside the bar, the seven deadly sins reveal themselves, and suddenly Isaac and Tamara aren't hunters walking into a trap. They're prey. And one of the demons forces Isaac to drink drain cleaner. It's grotesque and it's a cruel death, and it fits the episode's theme perfectly. These demons don't just kill, they make the death mean something. They twist the body, appetite, weakness, and control into a weapon, and Isaac dies coughing blood from the drain cleaner. And Tamara survives, but she is shattered in a million pieces. And at this point, Sam and Dean do what they do best. They come crashing through the front of the bar in Bobby's car and start throwing holy water like it's a bar fight with hell itself. These scenes are pure supernatural energy. There's no elegant plan. There's no perfect timing. It's Typical Supernatural. They're just hunters with panic, with holy water, and a car doing exactly what a Winchester car does, making an entrance. And yes, Bobby's car is a Winchester car too. Make no mistake about that. Now, back at the house, Walter Rosen is tied beneath a devil's trap. This is one of the most important pieces of demon hunting lore in Supernatural. A devil's trap is a symbol that can hold a demon in place. Once the demon steps inside, it can't escape unless the trap is broken. That gives hunters a fighting chance. But here's the problem. Exorcism doesn't kill the demon. It sends the demon back to hell. It's useful, but it isn't for now. And after the devil's gate is opened, back to hell doesn't quite feel as secure as it used to. There must be other ways that the demons can get out at this point, because there's a crack. Tamra's exorcises this demon from Walter Rosen, and the count drops from 7 to 6. But the remaining demons are coming. They are coming quickly. And Isaac's corpse comes back as well. That's one of the creepiest supernatural moments in the episode. It's when Isaac's voice calls to Tamra from outside. It sounds like him. It looks like him, but Bobby knows better. That this isn't Isaac anymore. A demon is wearing his body. And this moment hits because Supernatural's demons don't only violate the living, they violate grief. They use love as bait. They use familiar voices and faces to make people open doors they know they shouldn't open. And Tamara knows Isaac is dead, but the grief she's feeling doesn't listen to logic. And it usually doesn't with anything. She runs out, throws him down, and exorcises the demon herself. It's truly heartbreaking, and it's brutal because she isn't just fighting a monster. She's saying goodbye to her husband all over again. Now, when the remaining demons enter the house, the hunters split into chaos. Sloth goes after Bobby, but falls into another devil's trap. Bobby wastes no time sending that demon back where it came from. Dean ends up facing Lust, typical Dean fashion. And because this is Dean Winchester, that fight has a certain dark, funny edge to it. Lust uses attraction and temptation as power, but Dean manages to lure the demon into a bathtub filled with holy water. It's a perfect supernatural solution. Practical, messy, and just a little bit ridiculous. Meanwhile, Sam gets overwhelmed by the others. The remaining demons are just too much for him. And then she appears, the mysterious blonde woman who's been watching him. And we don't know that until right now. She steps in with a knife, unlike anything Sam or Dean or Bobby have seen before. She doesn't exorcise the demons. She doesn't trap them. She kills them. And that is huge. For 2 seasons, the boys have relied on holy water, Latin exorcism, devil's traps, and desperation. But this knife changes everything. It introduces a new kind of weapon into the mythology, one that can destroy demons instead of simply sending them back to hell. And when Sam asks who she is, she gives him one of the most memorable, sarcastic introductions in the episode. I'm the girl who just saved your ass. That girl is Ruby. And whether she's friend, enemy, or something in between, her arrival tells us season 3 is going to complicate everything the Winchesters think they know about demons. Now, the 7 deadly sins work so well as supernatural creatures because they're both ancient and intimate. A vampire attacks from the outside. A werewolf transforms the body. A ghost is tied to trauma and revenge. But the sins, they reach inside people and they turn ordinary flaws into fatal weapons. That makes this personal. That makes them personal. The shoe murderer isn't scary because the woman wants the shoes. It's scary because envy is recognizable. We all have envy. The starvation deaths are scary because they suggest a supernatural force can override survival itself. And Isaac's death is scary because the demons don't want to win. It's not all they're after. They want to humiliate, to corrupt, and they want to break people. These aren't monsters hiding in the woods. They're hell's commentary on humanity. And after the Devil's Gate, this is just the beginning. Now, by the end of the episode, the bodies of the possessed hosts are salted and burned. The ritual is familiar. The mood isn't. The question hanging over everyone is pretty simple. If the 7 deadly sins came out of the gate, what else escaped? That's a terrifying thought. Sam wants to chase a lead in Louisiana that might help break Dean's deal. Dean refuses because he knows the terms. If they try to break the contract, Sam dies again. That's when Sam calls him out. Dean hated what John did. Dean was furious that their father sold his soul for him. And now Dean has done the exact same thing for Sam. Dean, he doesn't deny it. He just says he's tired. He's got 1 year left. So his plan is simple. Kill evil sons of bitches and raise a little hell. And honestly, that's season 3 in one sentence. Dean is doomed. Sam is desperate. Hell is loose. And the monsters are getting worse and more dangerous. Now for fun facts and behind the scenes info. The Magnificent Seven aired on October 4th, 2007. And it was written by series creator Eric Kripke and directed by Kim Manners. Rest in peace. Manners was one of Supernatural's most important directors. He was known for giving the series so much of its gritty, shadowy, cinematic feel. The episode titled The Magnificent Seven is a nod to the famous Western of the same name. Supernatural loves borrowing from Westerns, and Dean is a huge Western fan. They're like road movies, urban legends, classic rock, and horror films. And this title fits the episode setup perfectly. A showdown against 7 dangerous enemies. And the opening recap used AC/DC's Hell's Bells, which is about as perfect as it gets for a season that begins with hell breaking loose. The transcript notes the intro footage was set to that song, as if they were listening to that song while Peter Bensfield was a real historical figure. He was a German bishop and theologian, and he was associated with demonological writings. I know these words, and I still can't pronounce them. And Supernatural folds his name into this mythology by connecting him to the classification of the 7 deadly sins as demons. And this episode introduces Ruby, played in season 3 by Katie Cassidy. Season 4, it's a different woman, and we will find out who it is, if you haven't seen the show. Ruby's demon-killing knife becomes one of the most important weapons in the show's mythology because it gives hunters a way to kill demons outright rather than just exorcise them. And that's a good and a bad, because when you kill the demon this way, it kills the host as well. And that's not ideal, but sometimes it's necessary. And season 3 also introduced Bella Talbot, played by Lauren Cohan, and she's part of the season's expanded mythology and a new character dynamic. Now, most fans don't like Bella, and for good reason. I happen to like her. I mean, she's a bitch. I like the woman who plays Bella. I have no issues with her whatsoever. She was on the Vampire Diaries, and I loved her as Rose. So I just can't see her as a bad person. Even the bad things that she does are redeemable, and she tries. So that's my take. And as for the black demon smoke, those effects were especially ambitious for this episode. According to production details summarized for season 3, the episode opening of Magnificent Seven featured the most demon clouds used in the first 3 seasons, with an army-like cloud mega of hundreds of individual demons. And this episode resets the danger level for the series. Before now, demons were terrifying, but they were still usually dealt with one case at a time because there weren't that many of them. And after the Devil's Gate opens, demons become larger. They become organized. They're an escalated threat. And the Magnificent Seven makes it clear that the Winchesters aren't just hunting monsters anymore. They're dealing with the consequences of a war that is starting. And that's what makes the Magnificent Seven such a powerful season 3 opener. It gives us demons as ancient sins. It gives us hunters with grief and grudges. And it gives us Dean's ticking clock. It also gives us Ruby and her impossible knife. And most importantly, it tells us that the Devil's Gate didn't just release monsters. It released temptation, hunger, rage, envy, and corruption. And this kind of evil doesn't always need claws or fangs or shadows in the corner. Sometimes all it needs is one little push. Thank you for joining me on Supernaturalist this week. Keep the salt close, check the devil's trap twice, and remember, if the sky starts filling with black smoke, it's probably already too late. Thanks again. And please remember to like and subscribe and share this episode with someone who is also a supernatural fan. Thanks again and have a great weekend.